Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I'm sporting California, where I probably like to be about now. Today is windy, blowing snow, kind of crappy, but hey, it is what it is, right? In Canada, we call that a Monday. So, let's get into this, shall we? So, I went back on ChatGPT and I asked some of the same questions I asked before because I wanted to see if it was going to give me any different answers. Watch this. So ChatGPT seems to think that when Gypsy took that little bit of a break from social media, apparently right after the birth of her baby, that it was the public that started inventing stories, started filling in blanks where she wasn't saying much. I found that very interesting because in order to be making up stories, put it this way, in order to plant a flower, you have to have a seed. Who do you think gave us the seed? Exactly, Gypsyrose. Here's something else. Now it's saying, because people made AI images of the baby or used reborn dolls in their videos or whatever, I did personally, yes, because I wanted to put a point across, nothing else. Now it's saying we are to blame. We are to blame for making up these stories about Gypsy's baby or non existing baby. Where do you think it got that idea? Let's continue. Yet, it's saying there was no official news outlet that said anything about Gypsy having a baby other than TMZ and Lifetime. People had it by hearsay. And remember, she sold people that one picture. So that's all people got to see was a picture. Same with TMZ. They didn't see no living, breathing baby either. They saw a picture. Let's continue. Now it's saying, because of all the rumors out there, Gypsy never... My hair's fucked up today. Gypsy never said they were true or they weren't true. She kind of just let them happen. Right? Kind of like she was trying to let us go astray on purpose. Right? That's what I'm thinking. Next. After a few questions, now it's saying I'm right. There is no verifiable source out there that said Gypsyrose had a baby. And it was right to flag that. I figure the more we push ChatGPT to give up the truth, not the narrative, that sooner or later it's going to start growing a different flower, a prettier one this time. Now, I asked about Mike Stanfield for the simple reason is we haven't seen him since the book signing. Hide nor hair. That was the last time we saw Mike Stanfield. Now, I think because Lifetime canceled Gypsy, and I'm going to say canceled because they canceled her, that he took a step back because the gravy train was over. As Gypsy said to Ryan, same thing, the gravy train was over. So Mike Stanfield just said, you're on your own. Bye. Enjoy all the narrative that we fed you, and it's up to you to either continue it or follow it or whatever. He's out of here. So after the doctor inserted the feeding tube into Gypsy, she spent 6 months inpatient. How many of you out there told me, by your first-hand accounts, that a feeding tube was really not much? You could change it at home. It doesn't hurt. It's kind of like a little tickle in your insides. And it's actually less non-invasive than a catheter. Yet Gypsy had to spend 6 months inpatient because of a feeding tube. I don't know, guys. I'm. The more we are looking back at these older videos, the more we're picking out stuff that we never saw before. So keep your eyes and ears open, because I'm sure we are now more in tune to what to look for than we were a year ago. Let's get on with this. Okay, what I found weird about this one is the remark that Gypsy made by saying, I feel more freedom in jail.
This is nice.
Sorry, I'm trying. Shush. I'm trying to hold it. Yeah, but she said at home she was under her mother's thumb, in a way, right? She said that her mother wouldn't let her go out, have friends, let her do anything. Meanwhile, she's been to more places than most grown adults have, okay, by this time. But she was less restricted in jail. Figure that out. Maybe when Gypsy was in jail, it gave her kind of the mentality that we had when we were in high school. We had our friends and we got to do stuff with them day in and day out, and, just form close bonds, whatever. I think that's kind of what she meant, which tells me when she came out of prison at 30, 31 years of age, can't remember, her mindset was still in teen years. And we know that Gypsy's mindset is still very, very immature for her age. No matter how she tries to speak upper class or whatever, it's not working, because Gypsy's a parrot. If she heard somebody else talking like that, she's going to talk like that. See how much she parrots her own sister. I showed you that in yesterday's video about the pictures, the lighting, all that stuff. Taking 50 pictures to get a couple of good ones. She parroted her sister right down to the number. I mean, that was crazy. Okay, we're going to carry on.
The feeding tube was painful, especially when it needed to be changed, because stomach acid erodes the internal hardware of it. And so every 6 months, it has to be replaced. And when it has to be replaced, the child or person is not put under any kind of general anesthesia. They just deflate the balloon that's inside the stomach that keeps the feeding tube in place, and then they just flip it out. But it expands the incision that it gets placed in, and so that part is particularly painful. It made me scream a couple times.
I always would tell her, I'm so proud of you, for being so strong and being in such good spirits. She never sounded depressed.
This I found interesting, because I don't know who she wrote this for, or I don't know who wrote this for her, maybe. But on release day, things coming up, highlights, release day, cosmetic work was top of her list. Cosmetic work. But Gypsy, I thought you were so scarred about all those surgeries you had. Why would you want another one as soon as you got out of prison? Wedding. A wedding redo. Yet when Ryan asked her if she wanted to get remarried, can we not talk about this on camera? Honeymoon vacation. Well, that never happened, and it never will, because Gypsy can't go to most places. Her vacations would have to stay in the States. First baby. Now tell me again that her trying to get pregnant, or that she did get pregnant, if you think she did, why it was an accident. Why was it an oops? Why? When she has it on her list. Next. Fillers. Fillers. How was that on anybody's list, especially at the age of 30? when your skin is still puffy and round and you know, whatever. You don't need fillers at that age. I know a lot of people get them, but for somebody who's supposed to be PTSD because of all the trauma, all the surgeries, all the poking and prodding, and yet she wants to do fillers now. Getting first tattoos. There's another one. Everybody knows that a tattoo ink pen has, like, I don't know how many needles, but multiple little needles in it, and that's what drives the ink into your skin. It hurts. It really hurts. Yet, PTSD trauma victim wants one. Next, job interviews. Haven't seen that yet. Where do you think Gypsy went to go get a job interview? Yet it's on her list. She put it on her list to make her list look good for the parole officers. But then as soon as she got out of prison, she was like, well, I can't. People know who I am. That's not safe for me. I can't go out there and get a job. I might get killed. Good Lord. Next, book tour. Because obviously she knew way before she got out of prison that she was going to be doing a book. Actually, I think it started before she got out of prison. I think her and what's her name again? Miss Moore had started all that before she got out of prison. Next, sitting down with parents and asking, I don't know, I kind of wrote that one off. Facing fears going back to 2013, it says 2103. Don't ask me why it says 2103, but I think it's supposed to be 2003 or 2013. Take your pick. Now I cut off most of the bottom on that one, but tell me what you think about all that. Her little list, her to-do list, her as soon as she got out of prison list. I'd like to know. Interested. So Gypsy supporters, do you think they support her because of what she did? They support her for the crime, not being a survivor victim, but actually being the perpetrator. That's why they follow her? So you mean to tell me that all these like preteens, teens, young adults are following Gypsy because they admire what she did? They wish that they could have done, they had the balls to do that too. Really? Really? I think people jumped on the bandwagon with her when she first came out of prison, or actually even before she came out of prison, because Melissa Moore, that's her name, Melissa Moore, and her attorney there, Michael Stanfield, got everything set up for her. Her social media, her book deal, her television appearances, interviews, they had all that booked for her. And everybody just jumped on the bandwagon. Oh, I want to see what happens to this. You know, this is a very unusual case that we have never really seen as big as this before, especially in that time. And they jumped on the bandwagon. Well, we should support her. She's a victim. Victims need support. And we're here to do it. That's how she got a mass following. But as you've seen in yesterday's video, the countdown is going down. They are leaving. They are jumping ship. Like a flea leaving a rabid dog. They're out of here. Right? Anyway, guys, thanks for watching the video. I do appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. It helps me in the algorithm. If you got a hype left, I wouldn't mind it. Thank you so much, guys. Plus, if you would like to support my t-shirt endeavors, you could always send me a super chat or buy me a coffee. They're both in my bio. So have a great day, everybody. Thanks for watching. Everything in this video is my thoughts, opinions, and or alleged. Bye, guys.